Hey there. So we have this eighth installment of the Twitter files, and this time it's talking mainly about the psyops that the US government used Twitter as a conduit for their psyops, despite Twitter's policy of not allowing government agencies to use their platform for psyops. So let's take a look at that, and then I'm gonna tell you something that really concerns me about this situation and Elon Musk, which everyone thinks is the new hero here, but not jump to conclusions too quickly. But here's your opportunity to go ahead and like and subscribe. Okay, here we are over at Twitter for part 8 of the Twitter files, and this is Lee Fang who's doing this one. Let's start from the top. How Twitter quietly aided the Pentagon's covert online PSYOP campaign. Despite promises to shut down covert state-run propaganda networks, Twitter docs show that the social media giant directly assisted the U.S. military's influence operations. Number 2, Twitter has claimed for years that they made concerted efforts to detect and thwart government-backed platform manipulation. Here's Twitter testifying to Congress about the pledge to rapidly identify and shut down all state-backed covert information operations and deceptive propaganda. Take a look at that. State-backed information operations. Combating attempts to interfere in conversations on Twitter remains a top priority for the company, and we continue to invest heavily in our detection, disruption, and transparency efforts related to state-backed information operations. Our goal is to remove bad faith actors and to advance public understanding of these critical topics. Twitter defines state-backed information operations as coordinated platform manipulation efforts that can be attributed with a high degree of confidence to state-affiliated actors. State-backed information operations are typically associated with misleading, deceptive, and spammy behavior. These behaviors differentiate coordinated manipulative behavior from legitimate speech on behalf of individuals and political parties. Whenever we identify inauthentic activity on Twitter that meets our definition of an information operation in which we are able to confidently attribute to actors associated with a government, we share comprehensive data about this activity. Number 3. But behind the scenes, Twitter gave approval and special protection to the US military's online psychological influence ops. Despite knowledge that Pentagon propaganda accounts used covert identities, Twitter did not suspend many for around 2 years or more. Some remain active. In 2017, a US CENTCOM official sent Twitter a list of 52 Arab language accounts we used to amplify certain messages. The official asked for priority service for 6 accounts, verification for one, and whitelist abilities for the other. Here we have that Nathaniel Collar. I've attached a list. The first 6 on the list are our priority accounts. Ideally, we could have them verified, blue check mark, and whitelisted if there is such a thing. One of them, Yemen Current, is currently indexing. Justice AR currently has a request in for verification, but haven't heard anything. The rest are accounts we use to amplify certain messages. Ideally, they could be whitelisted as well. Again, if it's too big an ask, the first 6 are a priority. If you need any sort of paperwork or verification from our office or SOCOM, please just let me know. Wow. Alright. The same day CENTCOM sent the list, Twitter officials used a tool to grant a special whitelist tag that essentially provides verification status to the accounts without the blue check, meaning they are exempt from spam abuse flags, more visible and likely to trend on hashtags. The CENTCOM accounts on the list tweeted frequently about U.S. military priorities in the Middle East, including promoting anti-Iran messages, promotion of the Saudi Arabia U.S.-backed war in Yemen, and accurate U.S. drone strikes that claim to only hit terrorists. And if you can speak Arabic, you can go ahead and read that. Number 7. CENTCOM then shifted strategies and deleted disclosures of ties to the Twitter accounts. The bios of the accounts changed to seemingly organic profiles. One bio read, Euphrates Pulse. Another used an apparent deep fake profile pic and claimed to be a source of Iraqi opinion. That's what these are here. One Twitter official who spoke to me said he feels deceived by the covert shift. Still, many emails from throughout 2020 show that high-level Twitter executives were well aware of DoD's vast network of fake accounts and covert propaganda and did not suspend the accounts. For example, Twitter lawyer Jim Baker mused in a July 2020 email about an upcoming DoD meeting that the Pentagon used poor tradecraft in setting up its network, and were seeking strategies for not exposing the accounts that are, quote, linked to each other or to DoD or the USG. Stacia Cardill, another Twitter attorney, replied that the Pentagon wanted a SCIF and may want to retroactively classify its social media activities to, quote, to obfuscate their activity in the space, and that this may represent an overclassification to avoid embarrassment. SCIF is a secure classified information facility where you can safely read classified information. Jim, Angela, and I discussed attendance at this classified briefing. I heard from Facebook that they are securing SCIFs in DC and San Francisco for a meeting, possibly on Friday. So, right here, this is Twitter, but we already have proof right here that Facebook is also in on this as well, which, I mean, is a surprise to no one who's been paying attention. I have some significant concerns that the motivations for classifications are slightly different than the ones you outlined in the email below. I think it is possible DoD is using retroactive classification to obfuscate their activity in this space, and that this may represent an overclassification to avoid embarrassment. Angela and I think you would be more effective in this meeting than me, as the officials will view you more seriously. Thoughts on this? Separate and apart from the merits, I have some concerns that attending due to COVID exposure might to immune compromised family members. Okay. In several other 2020 emails, high-level Twitter executives and lawyers discussed the covert network and even recirculated the 2017 list from CENTCOM and shared another list of 157 undisclosed Pentagon accounts, again, mostly focused on Middle East military issues. In a May 2020 email, Twitter's Lisa Roman emailed the DoD with two lists. One list was accounts previously provided to us, and another list Twitter detected. The accounts tweeted in Russian and Arabic on U.S. military issues in Syria and ISIS, and many also did not disclose Pentagon ties. Here's that. Many of these secretive U.S. military propaganda accounts, despite detection by Twitter as late as 2020, but potentially earlier, continued tweeting through this year. Some not suspended until May 2022 or later, according to records I reviewed. In August 2020, a Stanford Internet Observatory report exposed a U.S. military covert propaganda network on Facebook, Telegram, Twitter, and other apps, using fake news portals and deepfake images, memes against U.S. foreign adversaries. And there's a link if you guys want to look at that. The U.S. propaganda network relentlessly pushed narratives against Russia, China, and other foreign countries. They accused Iran of threatening Iraq's water security and flooding the country with crystal meth, and of harvesting the organs of Afghan refugees. That's what we got for part 8 of the Twitter files. Now, this seems to be all up to and prior to 2020. So I'd be interested to see if the next drop has a little more information on what has happened a little more recently with the intelligence agencies and Twitter. Now, here's what really concerns me about Elon Musk, and that is this new contract that he has with the DoD for this Star Shield, and it's where he's using the Starlink satellites, or the DoD, rather, will be using the Starlink satellites to communication about around the world, essentially. Let me show you this article, and you'll see what I'm saying. Here we are at TechCrunch, and this was written by David Dewey, and that was December 5th of 2022. SpaceX's launch services have already become an invaluable resource to the US government, but the company is now jumping into the deep end of the pool it had heretofore only splashed around in. Starshield, a new vertical within SpaceX, will provide government entities, think three-letter agencies, with secure communications and bespoke satellite design. The new brand, possibly a subsidiary, appeared as a new top-line category on SpaceX's website, alongside Dragon, Starlink, and Starship, but beyond that was not received any visible promotion or discussion in the company's media channels. I've asked the company for more details on certain aspects, but for now, all there is to know is on the Starshield page. The tagline is supporting national security, but it's unclear as yet whether this will actually directly support military intelligence or operations, or restrict itself to, if not purely civilian, then less combat-forward roles. Satellite-sourced data, particularly live imagery, is of enormous importance to the military, which both produces its own with spy sats and pays companies like Black Sky for it. While some other nations may be able to take advantage of some of these capabilities, laws limit how much can be sold abroad. Although Starshield's page uses the present tense, saying it provides certain services, it does not list any active missions or customers, so this is perhaps rhetorical. That said, the company claims to do Earth observation and secure communications, as well as satellite bus design. Though SpaceX, through Starlink, has plenty of experience lofting satellites into orbit, that network was meant to be consumer-facing and general purpose, not a taskable asset like a SpySat. If SpaceX has any of its own military-grade Earth observation satellites, it has been mighty quiet about designing and launching them. But Starlink's success shows there's no reason why, in principle, the company should not be able to do so. SpaceX says this government-focused service will require Starshield user equipment, which likely resembles Starlink's in operation but meets certain special standards of ruggedness, access, documentation, and capability with existing networks and assets. As Starlink itself has multiple tiers of ground station, from ordinary consumer rooftop type to paired extra tough nautical type, the Starshield version is probably going to be one of the high-end ones. Souped up, for instance, with additional high assurance cryptographic capability and with a price tag to match. More importantly, this move helps separate government work from consumer work. The company has lamented that its deployment of thousands of terminals in Ukraine has resulted in a quagmire of legal and financial finger-pointing. Ukraine can't pay, its allies didn't agree to pay, and SpaceX can't provide the expensive service for free indefinitely. This is partly because the whole network was really never meant to be used in this fashion, and grafting a military aid operation onto a consumer product has led to unforeseen consequences. By being more intentional about what services it provides government entities and under what terms, SpaceX probably hopes to avoid the blurred lines between being a global broadband provider and being a supplier of military intelligence. Both may be very profitable in their way, but rarely does one product serve both purposes adequately. The company also claims to produce a modular satellite bus for diverse mission types. Though again, this is unsubstantiated, not to say it isn't so, but the capability is simply stated, not shown with anything beyond a wireframe image. Exactly how far SpaceX has gotten in achieving the capabilities it describes here is anyone's guess. They may well have prototyped some of these things out already with some prospective customers, or this may just be a statement of intent with those customers in mind. Regardless of which is the case just now, it seems clear we will be hearing more about this service as its roles escape attempts at secrecy. For example, it is difficult to launch a major Earth observation satellite without anyone knowing. I have asked SpaceX for more information on its customers and capabilities and will update this post if the company responds. So I, for one, am a Starlink user, and the reason that I started using Starlink was so that I didn't have to worry about any control over the grid or any control over the broadband companies. But if now that Starlink and SpaceX is going to team up with the same agencies that teamed up with Twitter to basically overthrow democracy, then this doesn't bode very well with me. But I don't know. Maybe I'm just overthinking it. But leave a comment down below and let me know what you think about all that. Well, thank you for sticking around this long if you made it this long, and please click that like button. It will help get this video out further and farther and to more people. And also subscribe if you haven't already. And until next time, peace be with you.